In this episode of Beasley Finds, we will explore why U.S. citizens, or Americans if you will, are moving to the amazing country of Peru. To be clear, there's not a vast flood of Americans heading to Peru, but there is a steadily increasing flow. And of course, it's not just U.S. citizens, there are plenty of Europeans and other foreigners that have found a home there. Even some of our friendly Canadian brethren from the frozen north are finding Peru to their liking. These adventurous souls arrive for many reasons, and we will be exploring some of the more common scenarios that bring people to Peru. Towards the end of the video, we'll consider the opposite scenario and look at the number of Peruvians moving to America. As a bonus, I'll share an interactive map you can use to look up estimates of US citizens living in countries all across the globe. By the end, I hope you will come to appreciate the exchange of peoples, cultures, and traditions that we have with Latin America and how you could benefit from it. Most of us travel or relocate for an opportunity to experience something new and rewarding. Whether that reward is financial, spiritual, or educational, these reasons should form a foundation for why you want to make such an important life change. If you don't yet have your own reasons why, then here is a list in no particular order of 10 reasons why US citizens and others are moving to Peru. Number 1 is cost of living. Yes, the cost of living is less in Latin America compared to North America. Duh, we know that, you say, but do you know how much less and where Peru stands compared to other American countries? From the list of countries in this Numbeo data table, we can see that Peru is on the bottom with a low cost of living index of 33.6. This index compares the cost of living for the selected locations, countries in our example, with the cost of living in New York City. So with a score of 33.6, Peru's cost of living is 66.4% lower than New York City. Note that the United States is naturally on this chart of American countries. It has a score of 74.2, meaning that on average, the cost of living in the United States as a whole is 25.8% less than New York City's cost of living. This handy index is broken down into components such as rent, groceries, and restaurant prices. I'll leave a link to this source in the description below. Thank you, Numbeo, for providing such a useful tool. Before moving on, if you would be so kind as to tap the like and subscribe buttons, I may one day be able to go full-time making videos for you, my most excellent viewer. Thank you. Number 2 is the amazing beauty of Peru. Thanks to having 11 distinct ecological zones, including the dry desert coast, mountainous terrain, and jungle forests, Peru has a place for everyone where they can find natural beauty and a comfortable climate to live in. Number 3 is the opportunity to live healthy and eat well. Many of the expats that I've spoken to mention the fresh fruits and vegetables that are so abundant in this great land. Personally, I love the chirimoya fruit, which I would describe as having the consistency of an avocado with the taste of honey and tropical fruits. Number 4 is the many cultures and peoples of Peru. From the Incas, responsible for Machu Picchu, and the Nazca with their famous lines, to the modern-day descendants of these splendid civilizations, Peru is steeped in history, tradition, and the mystery of ancient South America. Next up, number 5 goes along with number 4, and it is for the love of the people. You just might fall in love with a Peruvian in the US, or maybe when you travel to Peru. You never know where love will strike. I met my Peruvian wife in the US. So there's proof that what I say is true. Number 6 is to return to your roots. Now that there is a regular exchange of people between Peru and the USA, it's very possible that you have family there or that you are returning to your country of origin. Some travelers to Peru, such as my father-in-law, spend part of the year in each country and travel back and forth frequently. This could be said for many countries and peoples in Latin America, not just Peru. Number 7 is the variety of places and especially elevations to choose from. You could live at sea level, such as in the coastal capital of Lima with its many neighborhoods to choose from. To the south, we have Arequipa at 7,660 feet above sea level, a city resting in a valley at the foot of several volcanoes. And there is Cusco perched above 11,000 feet. This is the ancient heart of the Incan Empire and home to the Sacred Valley, where you may discover Machu Picchu at about 8,000 feet above sea level. Number 8 goes along with 7 because you can choose from a variety of lifestyles that draw upon the earth, the water, or the people for inspiration. For example, you may find a spiritual connection in the mountains, and Peru has many of these. Mountains higher and more remote than any place you are likely to find back home. To the north, close to the equator where it's warm, you have expats that are drawn to the surfing lifestyle and a connection with the vast Pacific Ocean. And there are those who are drawn to the forests and valleys where countless varieties of fruit and vegetables grow. And for those who are drawn to the great tapestry of humanity that can be found in Peru's thriving cities, there are countless markets, historical sites, and festivals where you can immerse yourself in the language and culture of Peru. Number 9 builds off of 8 because some people choose to live in Peru simply to be near world-class archaeological sites. Living in the Cusco area, you will be surrounded by the amazing architecture of the Incas and have no shortage of historical sites to visit in the nearby Sacred Valley, including Machu Picchu. Number 10 is to pursue business opportunities. As with many expats, you might be in the country working for a company or to start your own business. Peru is a great travel and tourism destination, so there are opportunities to start a service company catering to tourists, such as a restaurant or hotel. As you can see, there are many practical reasons for wanting to live in Peru, and some that you may not have considered. Leave a comment below if you have a reason that wasn't mentioned in the video. Of course, making your own list will be much more meaningful and personalized, but I hope ours has given you some ideas to work with. Please take a moment to hit the like button if you're getting some value from the video, and the subscribe button is right next to it, so you might as well give that a little tap too. Thanks. Now, if you search for data on the number of Americans in Peru, you may find quite a range of estimates. The first source I used is the UN International Migrant Stock Dataset, which uses national statistics obtained from population censuses and other methods. They have an 8-page report on their methods if you care to read it. According to the UN data, the number of Americans living in Peru went from about 19,000 in 2015 to 41,000 in 2020. So the population more than doubled over that 5-year period and continues to grow. Our next source, the Federal Voting Assistance Program, which tracks the population of U.S. citizens for the DoD, puts the number of U.S. citizens in Peru at around 65,000. According to the program, it works to ensure service members, their eligible family members, and overseas citizens are aware of their right to vote. The interactive map promised in the intro can be found on the Federal Voting Assistance Program website at fvap.gov. Here you can browse for estimates of U.S. citizens in countries across the globe. Link is in the description below. Different methods of estimating and data sets result in disparities between population estimates, but most put the numbers of U.S. citizens in Peru above 40,000. Compared to the hundreds of thousands of Americans living in Mexico, this may seem low, but Mexico shares a border with the U.S., it's 1.5 times the size of Peru, and has 4 times the population. The estimate of Americans in Mexico was about 730,000 in 2015, and 800,000 in 2020, according to the UN. The difference over the 5 years represents only about 8.5% growth compared to the 100% growth of Americans in Peru over the same time period. So while the total number of Americans in Mexico is larger by an order of magnitude, the rate of Americans moving to Peru over the 5 years is substantially higher. Now let's switch gears and look at things from the other direction. The number of Peruvians living in the US is nearly 500,000. There has been about a 10% decrease in this migration over the 5 years of observation from 2015 to 2020. This could be explained by US immigration policies and tightening of the border, or simply numerical fluctuations that fall within the margin of error. If you consider the political landscape from 2015 to 2020, a decrease in overall migration from Latin America shouldn't be that surprising. Most Peruvians seeking a life in the United States do so for economic opportunity and to join family members living there. The simple fact is that many hardworking and educated Peruvians can't find work in their own country, and there are those that lose the ability to support themselves due to external circumstances. Reasons for this include, but are not limited to, government corruption, a sluggish economy, tough labor market conditions, and a lack of social safety nets. When coming to the United States, many Peruvians move to states such as California, Florida, New York, and New Jersey. Peruvian cuisine has proliferated in the Northeast and beyond. It's a great addition to the melting pot of available food options in the US. It draws inspiration from Hispanic, Asian, Italian, and indigenous cultures. I think many of us have also come to appreciate the history of the Incan Empire that was centered in the mountain stronghold of Cusco and made famous by the nearby citadel of Machu Picchu. These Peruvian sites are on the bucket list of many travelers. As we exchange people and ideas with Peru, we strengthen ties with our Latin American neighbors, which is beneficial for both countries. Perhaps someday you will consider the friendly nation of Peru for your next adventure. Let us know in the comments if you'd like to learn more about Peru and what we should focus on. We appreciate the feedback. Until next time, take care and farewell.